Ciao a tutti! Hi everyone, and welcome to week 2 of lockdown here in Rome, Italy. Before we get into the main part of the video, I just want to say that me and my wife, we are still fine. We still feel good. So today's video will be divided up into 3 parts. The first part will be an update. This will be just what's going on in my life and what is going on in Italy in general. The next part will be what the Italian government and what the country as a whole is doing to face this problem. And the third part will be going forward and just some reflections on what's going on. As I've mentioned in previous videos, this is an ever-changing situation. So the information that I have available is as of March 21st, 2020. Also, those of you who are continuing to reach out and ask how I am, I still appreciate it. Thank you very much. As of today, unfortunately, Italy has surpassed China in regards to the number of people who have passed away from this virus, and we are currently at more than 4,000 deaths, unfortunately. I don't know. I think it's because people ignored initial warnings by officials when they were telling us to stay indoors and to avoid contact with people. People ignored it, and I think what we're seeing now is the backlash from that. I think this is the result of people not listening to warnings, and since incubation is 2 weeks, now we're seeing the results. We are continuing to work from home, and the Italians call this smart working, in English actually. And I've been doing my lessons on the internet, and it's been bumpy at first, and I'm still getting used to it, but there are some advantages to it. I mean, it's kind of nice doing your lessons in sandals. Because people were not respecting the quarantine, the government has now shut down all parks all throughout Italy. If I've understood correctly, individual sports are allowed, like running, but it must be within 200 meters from where you live. The police are continuing to find people who are out and about without a good reason. And the only people who can really be out are the ones who are going to and from work, whatever jobs are still open, and also for, I think, medical emergencies. All the churches are closed, so we watch Mass on TV on Sunday. Yes, people are still singing, chanting, and making all kinds of noise from their balconies. And why not? I think it's a very good idea, because if we have to be cooped up in our homes, then we might as well do something that makes us still feel like human beings, I think. Check this out. I've saved the most interesting one for last in this category, and that is the grocery shopping. Since the filming of my last video, the time that we spend waiting in line outside the grocery store has indeed increased. The other day I went to buy groceries, and I had to wait about 40 minutes in line before I could even go in. People are not happy about the grocery store situation. I mean, who would be happy waiting about 40 minutes to an hour in line? But we put up with it because we know that, despite the fact that we have to wait, the government has guaranteed that the grocery stores will still be stocked. And so, we're not going to go hungry here. And I like that. I mean, we're not hoarding here like what's happened in the United States. And I think it's because there's not really a panic here in regards to the virus. I mean, we're concerned about it. It's the talk of the town, and it's transformed our lives. But, we're still eating. So what is the government and the country of Italy doing as a whole? I'm going to be generic about these next two because I don't have all the details. But from what I've learned, the payment of some taxes have been suspended, as well as mortgages. But this really depends on the kind of mortgage you have and the kind of work that you do. The government has also put together a form of stimulus package, which will help small businesses during this time, because a lot of businesses are closed now. It's really taken a hit on the economy. Also, pensioners, retired people, in Italy, they normally collect it at the post office, and so what they're doing is they're telling people to go and collect it on certain days. This avoids crowding at the post office. I am told that during this crisis, it is now impossible to be fired from your job. What's surprising is that China has actually reached out to Italy. They have sent a team of medical experts to come and evaluate the situation, and also they have sent us a bunch of masks, as I've learned. They have also blood from people who have been cured, and that's very important to mention, really. We do have over 4,000 deaths in this country, but we do have more people who've been cured, who've gotten over this virus. The Ferrari company is also making the lung-breathing machines. And you also have different companies in Italy who are changing their productions to make masks now. As you probably know, the northern part of this country has been hit the most, and in particular, Bergamo. In fact, I was just watching a news special this morning, and there was an English journalist who went to visit one of the intensive care units at a hospital in Bergamo, and they're one of the best in Europe, I believe, and they've been hard hit, so it's still a problem up there, and this could be even a bigger problem if there's more outbreaks in the south. Getting around the country now is virtually impossible. Trains, buses, cars, you name it. So if anybody still has any dying hope of coming here on vacation, no. So where do we go from here? Well, as I said in previous videos, I'm still going to say it again. Isolation will work. I think that this is really the only way to flatten the curve. You know, the number of contaminations and the number of deaths are still going up here in Italy. I believe we lost over 600 people yesterday, primarily in the north. But again, as I said at the beginning of this video, this, I think, is due to what people were doing 2 weeks ago when people were still out and about. And this is the result. I think the Italian recovery will be harder than the Chinese one because, as I said before, there are still people who are ignoring the quarantine. Spring is coming, and the Italians in warm weather is like a moth to light. So it'll be hard to keep people in quarantine, I think. But nonetheless, you know, I still do think that enough people are respecting the quarantine, and I think that eventually we will see this virus disappear, or at least we will see less contaminations and less death because people are not spreading it. Will this approach work in the United States? I mentioned America because that's where I'm from, and I have mixed opinions about that. I think some people are capable of, you know, observing this behavior, but a lot of people know, because I don't think people will react very well to, you know, an authority telling them, oh, you must stay home. I don't know. Nonetheless, though, I still do think that isolation is the best method, and I'm repeating it because I do realize that a lot of people are going to watch this video and they're looking at Italy as an example of what may happen to them in the coming weeks. And so that's why I really want to emphasize this approach. So what is my frame of mind after 2 weeks of quarantine? Well, I have mixed opinions about it, really. I don't like it. I mean, who likes being cooped up all day? But, you know, I put up with it, and I know it's necessary, because if we want to beat this thing, if we want to stay healthy, that's what we got to do. I mean, I am starting to feel the need to go out and explore. I mean, I love walking around. I love traveling. I love seeing new places and just wandering around. But, you know, I know that's got to be put on hold until we can beat this thing. The planet does seem to be recovering. I mean, just look at Venice. I saw some pictures the other day where the canals, the water is crystal clear because you haven't got the boats and tourism there. The levels of air pollution are also down in Italy. You know, I always think that in every tragedy, there's always something positive that comes out of it. I mentioned these last two because I had a thought. You know, if people see how nice the planet looks without all this pollution, you know, maybe we'll take better care of the planet once this virus passes. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, I don't consider myself an eternal optimist to the point of being naive, you know. I try to look at the bright side of life. I try to find the positive things in every situation. And I think this is absolutely necessary in order to maintain a healthy mental state during this time. What I think this virus has taught us is that we must cooperate as a whole. I think I mentioned this in the previous video, and it's still true. You know, I think this is the only way we're going to beat this thing. I think also it's forced people to focus on what's really important in life. You know, all the things that we're stressed about, our priorities, people we thought were important. You know, I think that the focus has now shifted. I always like reading your comments, so let me know what's going on. Has the virus hit your part of the world yet? How do you feel about it? Let me know. To end this video, I strongly advise all of you to take Italy seriously. Even if you haven't got any cases where you live, or if it's not really a problem, keep it that way. And the best way to keep it that way is to stay informed. Learn as much as you can about the virus, learn from our example, and I think we will beat the virus that way. Until next time.